guys came over from Facebook, some of you. Can you hear me?
I made it.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy that you guys are all coming on over from Facebook and joining us here on Instagram. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's new for
But it's great, and I love to do it more. You know, I know you put up a post about indigos, and everybody had their questions, so I have written them all down, and we're going to get to your questions at the end of our chat about indigos. Lots of energy, I can feel it. So we're just talking about indigo children, or if you're an indigo, I guess we're not children anymore, but maybe there's some children on Earth. If you're in the spiritual community, you've heard about indigos, I'm sure, and crystals, rainbows. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about what was before indigo.
So just to start off, could you give us like a kind of like a definition of what an indigo child is?
Yeah. We'll even go a little bit further back from there. You have your aura around your body, and the one color, the one strip of color, which is an indigo color in your aura, will describe your life color. And your life color gives you a little bit more of a descriptive as to your characteristics and maybe a little bit more of your purpose here on Earth. And I'm actually going to be teaching a class in May talking about your life color. So if you want to delve in a little bit more and that interests you, you can do that. But indigos, there's so many different characteristics when we want to talk about indigos. And that was a lot of the questions that everybody here on Instagram had, which is, how do I know if I'm an indigo? And so some of the characteristics of an indigo, I'm just going to list some of these off because there's a few of them, is, you know, you're very creative. You have bigger aspirations, or you know there's a bigger purpose for you, that you're meant to be here for a reason. You have high expectations maybe of yourself to a degree, although I've met plenty of indigos that also realize that what's the wording? The system isn't built for us, so we kind of give up a little bit. Okay, so I've had my moments like that too, and
You're like, F this.
yeah, pretty much. So here's the other part of it: stubborn, persevering. You question authority. You want to overturn the man, or are a change maker. Okay, you might feel frustrated at times, coupled with big picture vision, feeling restless, your soul's drive for change. You become easily frustrated in society, and things aren't shifting or changing quickly enough. Okay, we came here to change things, although my angels will often remind me, some people, to allow them to be as they choose. Okay, I'm not meant to push it with them, although I'd like to. I don't.
Wait, can you move your camera a little bit so like I can like so that it's not too much space above? No, not that way.
Oh, I see. Other way. Good.
There we go. Yeah,
Okay,
a little
good.
bit better.
Okay, good.
Just because like, the chat's at the bottom, so it'd be easier for them to see.
That's perfect. So there's times, well, pretty much my whole life, I've wanted to give my opinion and wanted to help change people. But so that kind of gives you an indicator as well to what type of indigo I am. There are 4 types of indigos, okay? And I'm going to get into that too. And you and I are going to discuss it. If you look at me and Paul, I'm older than Paul. So I'm of a different generation of indigos, whereas Paul's from the younger generation of indigos. So often I think we chuckle because we have similar characteristics, but they're a little bit different. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, I think, about, you know, indigos, they like to give their opinion, and they like for people to like want to like change people's opinion or like get them out of a rut or something, but you realize pretty quickly that that doesn't really work, does it?
No. And the other part of it is there's moments where when I'm giving readings, the angels will give me free reign to just kind of give from my perspective to try to help the person. And there's other times where they remind me, Kristin, this is our reading and follow our lead. And I'm like, okay. And I'm to allow the person to be as they choose. So some people are ready to hear it. They're ready for change. And some people are not. And that's fine on either side of the side of whatever. So let's get into a little bit more, okay? You might feel like you're hypersensitive. You might feel like you're too sensitive maybe for this planet, period.
Yeah.
You feel like a lot of times, I don't know about you, Paul, but this isn't home. We got dropped off. I'm waving money. Maybe the UFOs will come pick us up. But this isn't home, right? And okay. And we are very good at articulating what we want and what we need. We don't hold back and stuff things down and be quiet. We're not easily censored. Let's put it that way. Wow, I just saw something flicker right behind you, Paul. That was crazy. I don't know what it was, but it was notable. So the other part of it is you might be interested in technology. But again, we could list that as maybe more your generation versus my generation. I try to do my best and I try to follow and learn and do what other people do. But again, hyperactive. Can you relate with that?
Yeah, especially a lot of the indigos that are coming in now have ADHD. So it's like they already have that indigo punch with them, that edge with them, but they also have ADHD a lot of the time. So you may like get through halfway cleaning your room and then be like, oh, get bored with that or something, and go on to something else. That's the common thing that I hear from a lot of people.
For me, if it's not working for me, I got to shift it. It's not that I get bored and where I am. It's more like if I'm not happy with something in my life, I have to shift it and change it quickly. And I've got to move back into balance for me. But again, we could list hyperactivity. When I was younger, I was running around outside and going wild in the forests, and it was a good childhood. We often tell my mom that, it was pretty awesome, Mom. You let us have free reign. Not
Yeah,
like
one of the
nowadays.
common things I see with like indigo children, a lot of parents come to me for readings and sessions and things like that, and it's kind of like the indigos are kind of running the show a little bit in the house, and they're kind of taking advantage of the parents. The parents don't know how to deal with them. They're kind of rebellious. They're kind of hyperactive, and they push the limits. And they will sense the insecurities in you a lot of the time. So they're gonna play to that as well. So you really got to hold your own with these indigo children. And I tell a lot of these parents this, and they're like, well, I do love myself. I do love myself. I was like, it's not what it sounds like the way that your household is running right now, and everyone's taking advantage of you and things like that. We're all on this journey of, self-love and things like that. So
the number one thing that I'll hear, especially when somebody has indigo children, is the parents better make sure that their words and their actions always match up. If you're going to hand out, a repercussion of any kind, you better follow through. Because if you don't, the indigo may not follow your lead or see you as an example of a leader or respect you. And then they're going to push against the grain. And we don't want that, especially as they move into teen years. My mom had her hands full. Yeah, my mom sure did. Okay. And okay. So I thought this part, not so much, but for you, maybe you can relate. Having a particular diet, sometimes skips meals, sometimes reverses breakfast. Oh no, that's true. I do that. If I want to have breakfast at nighttime, I do it. When I want to eat it, I always thought it was hilarious when my grandparents allowed us to eat some dessert before dinner. I loved it. We're going against the grain. We're doing something different. Refuses to eat meat or is intolerant to some foods. So that's another part of your journey as well.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just a part of like some of the newer energies coming in. A lot of the newer people, maybe they don't resonate with eating animal products. Some people do, and some people need to for their vessel. But me, for example, I've been totally fine eating a vegan diet for I think 8 to 9 years now, and it's been pretty good for me. It has been difficult, you know, being able to find the right foods for me. But once you find some of the right foods, you can kind of, you know, get into a routine of what you like and don't like, you know.
The other part of it is you might find that you have special or extrasensory faculties. Okay.
Hmm.
So what does that mean? It might mean like you pick up on things that other people don't pick up on, right? So it might be you're sensing the energy around you and you're noticing maybe ear ringing, or you're noticing, you ever feel swirling or pressure here? These are your ear chakras, okay? And they might be getting lit up as spirits trying to talk to you. So you might have some abilities that are coming online, and you're just maybe well, you'll definitely be sensitive and noticing other people's energy or energy in a home. You're not 3Ding it through life, not noticing things, okay? And here's the last part. You might feel like a black sheep. You might feel like you're out of place. And this could be just out of place in your family dynamic, but it could be out of place on earth. This isn't home. And you may feel like you are different from other people, and you can tend to be a loner or rebel, unwilling to compromise just to fit in. And thank God we have that,
Yeah.
right? Thank God.
Yeah, and I noticed that within my own life, a lot of times I feel annoyed or frustrated at other people in my life that aren't indigos.
Yeah.
And because they're taking the more conventional path, a lot of the time they're either going to school, going to college, or getting more conventional types of jobs. And then indigos, they like to do their own thing and go their own path in an unconventional way. Maybe it's going to be an entrepreneur or some other kind of path. It might be the long way around, you know. It's never like straight there with it.
That was me.
Yeah, it can take a while sometimes to find your path because you're not going to settle for like the conventional easy way out a lot of times. So it might take you a little bit, but once you find that path, they are gone. I know the indigos, they do super well once they find something they like to do or like something they're passionate about. And I think that's like really cool. And I've always liked that about myself.
When I came out of high school, I did the tour with everybody else at the university or the college, and it didn't resonate with me. I felt like this pullback sensation in my body, and I knew that was not the path for me. And the beautiful thing is about being an indigo too is, okay, well, that's not the path. I'm not going to take the traditional path, but I'm just going to trust and have faith and to step off and move in a different direction. And a lot of indigos I've seen are self-employed.
Yeah.
Because they have the time freedom and the financial freedom, and that's what they want. They want freedom to be themselves, to do things the way that they want to be done, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and whatever you want or desire like that is probably what you're going to manifest in the long run. So that's the cool thing.
And you might be drawn to school, go to school. You might be drawn to self-employment, do self-employment. For me, I kind of bounced around. I made wedding bouquets. I made cakes in a bakery and did buns. I tried all these different jobs. And what did it teach me? That's nice for now, but that's not what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. So the key is to follow what you're drawn towards or what you enjoy. And even when you don't know what you want and what you don't know what you enjoy, try different things to see what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah, and get around people that you resonate with, that you like, and that like you for who you are, especially other indigos, because you're gonna get frustrated if you're around other life colors like violets or blue life colors. It's gonna be a different energy than yours, so you're probably gonna get annoyed at each other. They're gonna get annoyed at you, and you're gonna get annoyed by them. So it's good to get around other indigos. That's why I'm glad I've got around you and other people online that are really have this type of energy, and it's almost like liberating because
it really
I was like, I can't be around some of these people that are very unawake or very conventional type of paths, you know. Yeah.
And I find I get along better with indigos, but not all indigos. Sometimes I'll go head to head. with certain indigos, and then I know I just need to step back because no one's gonna win.
Yeah.
Step back, Kristin. So okay, so let's delve in a little bit deeper. Okay, Nancy Ann Tappy, she was the first individual to realize that indigos even existed on planet Earth, and I was lucky and fortunate enough to meet her 20 years ago. And when she came, my mom had to volunteer to drive her around because she couldn't drive a car because she would see auras around people's bodies and she couldn't see properly to drive. And so when I started to bop along with the two of them, she was having a lecture, a speech at the local university talking about indigos. And then in the evening, my mom rushes in and she's like, Kristin, guess what? You're an indigo. She was like, and I was like, oh, okay. All right. I don't know what that means.
Oh my
Both my
God.
sisters are not indigo. My mom is not indigo. Mass majority of the people I grew up with are not indigo. But when I tuned in and sent along a picture of my two friends that I was really close with, both of them were indigo. I was like, yes. But what came before indigo on Earth? My Nana, who crossed away 5 years ago, she was a yellow. She loved the color yellow too. She loved bright colors. So her color, her life color was a yellow. You can look all of these up online, by the way. Yellow life color in Auric field, indigo color in life color in Auric field or aura. And then so the older generation that's passing away on Earth, they'll be yellow or magenta. Then we moved closer down. My mom, again, blue. My sisters, blue. But a lot of what we see on Earth now is violet or blue. Okay, so it goes yellow, magenta, blue. Mass majority of the women on Earth are blue that I've met, although my grandmother was violet, so that surprised me. So we go blue, violet, indigo, crystals. I'm sure you guys have all heard of the crystal children, and then rainbows. And then there's a newer one coming in now, even more open, even more sensitive, even more capable of telepathic communication, etc.
Yeah, and so a lot of people say that they don't really see indigos very much anymore, but that's not the case in my experience. You know, through the readings that I've had, and I know through the readings that sessions that you've had with people, a lot of people's kids are still these indigo life colors. They're just a different version. They may have ADHD or
Yeah,
something like that, or be extra sensitive. And
exactly.
there is crystals as well that are incarnating and rainbow, but you can also have a combination of the two. So you can have maybe mostly indigo and then maybe a little bit of crystal in your or life color. So it's never like one or the other a lot of the times, but most of the time it's like one or the other, I'd say. But yeah.
When I look around, there's a lot of blues, there's a lot of violets. Blues are going to give the shirt off their back. They're going to be the single moms. They're going to be the ones that hold the glue together in our society. They will be putting themselves second or last. They may just choose to be more quiet. They're not going to speak up every time. Violets are the workers. They're getting educated
Providers.
providers. So I do see a lot of violet men marrying blue women. And I have dated violet men in the past myself twice. It was nice, but overall, not a long term cup of tea. So for me, it's really about getting with another indigo for a longer, lower longevity. Okay, so let's talk about the different types of indigos on Earth, okay? Because there are 4 different types of indigos. And I see in the comments here if we can recommend any type of reading material for awakening, ascension, or spiritual growth. For me, it's anything written by Michael Newton. fascinating. He is a QHHT practitioner, and when he hypnotized people, he realized he could bring them into the superconscious state of mind or tap into their soul. It was fascinating. So you got a full description about heaven, crossing over, reincarnation on earth. I still recommend that. Anything written by him. Do you have anything that you can recommend, or?
You can. There's just books you can look up on Indigo Children or ADHD
Yeah.
Indigo Children. I've heard that were pretty
tons
cool.
of books on Indigo Children. You can look up videos on Indigo Children on YouTube. You can Google it. Okay, so let's
look through this really fast, and then we can get into the questions after that.
Okay, sounds good. So there's 4 types of indigos, and the first one is humanist indigos. That's me. I'm thinking
Joe Rogan, one of them.
Joe Rogan, big time. So the description of humanist is they are those children who will work in contact with people such as doctors, teachers, and then make themselves available to others. They are the most sociable and generally hyperactive type as children. They want 1,000 toys. And then so for me, what I've noticed with humanists is we love to socialize and talk, and here's me getting written up at work at a bakery for talking too much twice. So the next one is the conceptual indigo. They are very designed children. They're designed to be they prefer jobs like engineers or architects. Generally, okay, they can have a beautiful body and sportsmen. What I've noticed with conceptual is they're kind of more reserved. They're behind the scene. They're maybe on their keyboards more. They're not as social as humanists.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk might have a little bit of that in him. The engineering part,
Okay, and here's the other part. They try to control their parents more than all the other types of indigos. I didn't know that, so that's fascinating. And here's another thing, okay? They also saying that this indigo is at risk for addictions. I would say pretty much across the board, all indigos are. We're so sensitive and so open and so connected, and we're the ones a lot of significantly on earth. So when you're that open and sensitive, you want to
cope, and indigos like to go max out at things,
Yeah, don't we? We're in it, we're out. We're in that, we're out.
Like when I smoked weed, I smoked the most amount of weed or something like that.
Yeah. And for me, mine was alcohol. Okay, the artist indigo is the most sensitive indigo, and is interested in creative pursuits such as artistry, painting, crafts. Maybe you got hobbies that you're interested that are artistic, drawing, or even acting. Okay, there's a lot of the cast from Friends are indigo artists. Artist indigos, if you want to say it like that.
Also, Viggo Mortensen, I think he was one of those from Lord of the Rings. You guys know Aragorn, the hottest man alive. Just kidding.
If there was a vote, it'd be game on. Okay, and okay, all right. And interestingly enough, the other description here is passes from one thing to another with ease, as artists do. Oh, I'm going to do painting now. I'm going to do acting. Oh, yeah, I'm doing this now. Oh, I'm doing that. And the other part of it is a great desire to discover things. I have to discover, and I must know more. An insatiable appetite for learning. Now let's get down to the bad boy type of indigo.
The bad boy.
I think my cousin Ryan is definitely this one. And when we played nice at first, and then we went head to head, and then it got to the point where I realized no one's going to win in this, so I backed off, and he's since moved away, so that worked out for me and him. All right, the interdimensional indigo.
Okay, how many of these are there?
This is the last one. Okay. This is the 4th. The most robust and large indigo. Since very little, even when they're like 2 years old, they're considered robust. They know very well what their task is, and they able to do everything themselves. Okay, okay, they are the people who will revolutionize or philosophies and religions. How fascinating! Probably because they're like the rule busters to the max, like the stuff that I would hear my cousin Ryan doing. So if you think about that, if they're going to revolutionize something, they're going to go into the big stuff, philosophies, religions, etc.
Yeah,
Okay,
you know who that,
so
that reminds me of? That Vivek guy, that Indian guy that was running for
oh,
president. I think he has some of that in him.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally, because he's just like he hones in and then he just brings out all the truths and lays it out for
Yeah, and
everybody.
it goes
Although,
into all the depths of history and all that stuff too.
yeah,
So
that's a very good point. Very good point. All right, so let's get down to the questions that everybody left the other day. And some of them are on indigos and some are not. So I just listed out the different ways that you'll know that you're in indigo. But so that for you. And the other part of this is indigos on the spectrum of autism. Do we notice that?
yeah, I feel like everyone's on the spectrum now because of TikTok. But I think I don't see a whole lot of indigos that have like full blown autism. It's not super common. I see a lot of times they'll be crystal or like rainbow or something,
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
and then or be like a violet or something. And then with a lot, I would say a lot of indigos do have some characteristics of being on the spectrum, but I wouldn't say they have, a lot of times they have full autism or something. It's like me, for example, I have ADHD and things like that, but I don't have autism.
What I noticed growing up is like nobody had, I mean, when I say nobody, I'm sure that was not the case, but I rarely ever saw someone with a food allergy, let alone maybe a detergent or chemical cleaning product allergy, gluten, dairy. Now we jump into autism or even I saw a little bit more of ADHD, but as far as autism in my when I grew up back then, that wasn't something that I saw hard if at all. Now fast forward and this generation coming up, I agree with you that I see it a lot more in like crystals and it's just more sensitive
Yeah, and
rather
whether
than
they have autism or not, they may show those some of those symptoms because all the new people coming in are coming in with the new blueprint or they're tuned to the higher frequency. So they may act different, they may, tune into energy different. They may not be paying attention in class anymore or going or doing well in school because these systems are from the old. And so all the newer kids are attuned to the new frequency, to the new earth frequency. So it's going to seem like a lot of people have like issues or problems, but really they're just, he just have different, tuned to a different frequency.
and
Yeah.
for me, maybe individuals with autism when I grew up, maybe they were more not as intensive or as severe as they are now. But it wasn't something that I saw in my schools. Nobody was talking about it. Maybe it was a more milder version. It seems more intensified now, much more intensified. And if you look at the TV show Love on the Spectrum, how many of them are in their late 40s? Like you just don't, or 50s, 60s.
All right, let's go to the next
show.
question.
Okay, next question.
So
these are not indigo related, but we're going to dive in. Do psychedelics connect you to source? Source being God, light and love, universal oneness, however you want to say it. And if not, what are we tapping into? I'll let you take that one.
So some things with psychedelics, they can help open some people up, but it's not something that I recommend because everything that we do with psychedelics, we can do without them basically. And a lot of people just want to have this exciting, intense experience. So they want to do ayahuasca, do all these different things. And a lot of people end up just going completely off the rails when they take a lot of these psychedelics. So that's not something that I don't really recommend. Some people think it's great and all, but it's just not my cup of tea. And
I teach people how to channel with my courses and my classes. I teach them from what the angels have taught me. I don't teach the way other people teach. I teach from my 18 years of experience. You can connect with spirit without using anything. When people come to me and they say, "Oh, should I use ayahuasca to open up to connect?" never once have I heard the angels say, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard spirit say, yeah, do it.
Yeah, and also it kind of like stretches your consciousness a little bit. It stretches it in weird ways and kind of in a more of an unnatural way. But it's just not healthy, in my opinion, if you're going to do like a lot of LSD all the time or something. It's going to stretch it in some kind of weird way. But really, our consciousness is supposed to be more of a gradual experience of expanding over time. And people want this intense experience right now, and they want to awaken completely. And that's just not how it is most of the time.
It's just a step-by-step practice, and anyone and everyone, well, in truth, we're all mediums. We're all channeling all the time. It's just that we're doing it unconsciously versus consciously. I just teach people how to do it consciously, and then you're tuned in every day, and you don't need to touch a drug to tune in. Okay. And some people that I've met over the years, ever since in high school even, they've done the drugs a lot, and one pupil is way bigger than the other one, and that's going to be the way it is forever. The other person told me their serotonin levels were altered. Now they feel like their mood is depressed or more low level because their serotonin levels aren't the same as they once were. These are just experiences that I've had. Okay, last question here is, if grays do not possess emotions, okay, we're talking about gray aliens, we're jumping in off the deep end. This isn't pertaining to what we're talking about, but if gray aliens do not possess emotions, what is their purpose and what drives them?
Evolution.
And not everyone's meant to be the same. Being different is good. Showing us there are other ways of being and being different.
I feel like they observe other types of beings that have emotions, and they're very intelligent, and they realize that, oh, this might be a path that we can evolve or advance from. So that's maybe something that they wanted to pursue, or maybe incarnate into different vessels where they can advance in a different way.
They're so when the grays come, you actually feel your temperature drop. You kind of get a little bit cooler. They're completely emotionless. I think the only emotion that I've seen with them is curiosity. So what drives the grays? What's the purpose? Learning, expansion, growth.
Curiosity.
Big time. Evolving, evolution. They find us fascinating because the way that we reproduce here on Earth is we birth light beings, souls, through our bodies. And they don't do that. They don't do it that way. They're also here because they're allowed to be here. And part of their purpose as to what they're allowed to do is, you guys know, abductions. I don't think as many are happening now, but reproduction, hybrids. And the way another woman described it to me as, which was really fascinating, is when you're a gray and you have no emotion, you can't get to where everybody else is going, because you don't have the full color of emotion, right? For growth. So you do a hybrid with a human in order to progress and move forward to where everybody else is going.
And then you maybe incarnate human after that.
I met 3 people in my lifetime after thousands of readings that have had gray lifetimes. So it's not as common.
So if we're on the topic of starseeds, I remember Amelia, she's asked me a question. I think she's from Norway, and she was talking about she had an experience with Arcturians, and they said they had a message for her, but she wasn't sure what it was. But they said that they thought that she should be doing something. But I was just getting a little bit of backstory. Maybe we could channel a little bit about that and see what they were saying about that.
As soon as you tune into the Arcturians, they're smiling, which makes me smile. There's certain things that she's learned as an Arcturian that she's to bring to the forefront here on Earth in order to help others in her close proximity, to help others to have a further understanding. These are like gifts or abilities that she has to bring to the forefront.
I don't see it's like something that she missed or something in that dream. No, but I feel like it's just like a symbolism of expanding your creativity and becoming more light filled.
Any one of us can connect in with ET energy anytime we want. and your angels, Archangel Michael, they're all watching who's allowed around you. Okay. And you can set your boundaries. You just have to verbally do it once if you want, but they all know who's around. And the key is nobody here is interested in anything else other than communication. It's usually coming from your own starseed family that you've had incarnations with in other vessels on other planets. So they're here trying to help you on Earth, and that's who you're connecting in with.
And if you guys have any questions before we log off, but we only have a few minutes left.
Just a few minutes. This kid's got to go pretty soon here. They want her to know that she's doing a really wonderful job here on Earth, but there's still much more yet to come. So if she has this feeling like there's more, or purpose is more, it is more, and there is more to come.
Yeah, what I got was just to keep walking the path of light, and that you're on the right path, and there's nothing to be worried about, and to not overthink it or second guess it, just to keep walking on this path.
Yeah.
That makes any sense.
Just like with people, energy and people. People are energy, okay? Whether it's spirit world and out of a body or in a body. The key is to keep your frequency more high vibrational or elevated, so low vibrational people or energy just sloughs off and doesn't even really want to be in your experience anyway, right?
I'm 19 at the moment. I have autism diagnosis. I'm a crystal starseed with a bit of indigo characteristics. What would you know my aura color? So they're asking.
Okay. And what is the first name?
Ben. He says, yeah, I have autism diagnosis. He thinks he's a crystal with some indigo characteristics.
I agree, because I'm seeing the indigo, but it's not as full-blown indigo. Okay, so I'm just going to auditorily ask them to tell me. Crystal with indigo characteristics. Perfect. Correct. Yes. You got it, Ben. You got it.
This person's asked, is Jesus coming back in the physical, or is it just Christ consciousness? So let's ask this question.
Well, I already know the answer, but you go ahead.
We've already answered this before, but it's always good to double check, I guess. I feel like, yes, he is incarnated at this point in time.
That's correct.
But of course, in the body of a female.
That's correct.
In the future, I feel like he's going to incarnate as a male.
Probably.
Into the new earth more. But yeah, I know that to the Christ consciousness, he's bringing a lot more angels to earth and a lot more of this Christ consciousness energy. It's really enveloping earth, and it's really awesome. And we play different. Yeah, and we played different roles in a lot of these lifetimes. So maybe one lifetime he played the savior or whatever people call him, and in this lifetime he's playing something different. So you can always play different roles and different things.
He's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. He's a pro, and I'm not a religious person, and I didn't even want to work with him in the beginning, but I'm glad I let down my guard to work with him because he knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Oh, isn't that beautiful? It's wonderful when we all get together and we sync up, just like when you do transcendental meditation. You can go into the meditation even easier. When we all get together, we can tune into spirit and connect easier. Isn't that great?
Mm-hmm. And also, everyone, if you want to learn how to channel, Kristin and I are doing a Mediumship for Beginners course coming up in April. It's going to be really excited. And this is how I learned to channel.
That's right.
For 2 weeks. And you get to work on your own time and work in a group with other like-minded, open-minded people. And it's a smaller private group. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be too intense for you. You take things step by step. And then by the end of it, a lot of people end up being better channelers than me and things like that. So I think it's really fun and really cool. And that's what do you have anything else to say about it?
Yeah, it's for 2 weeks in April. It's $111. So it's on the lower end. If you look around at courses on how to teach or learn mediumship, it's 7 lives with a lot of pre-recorded material and ebook. And I always say to people, if it's something that's on your mind and you're thinking about it a lot, come and take it. If it feels flat and you're not, and you just feel like you're not thinking about it, don't come and take it. Mm-hmm. So it's important to take it and join in if you want to have a really high vibrational fun experience.
For sure. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people where someone was talking to me. They're looking around and all these courses are like $1,000.
Oh yeah.
This course is like a tenth of that.
Oh yeah.
And it's amazing. It's the best one I've ever taken, and
I
I'm helping
love
teach it now, and it's awesome. But yeah.
And you were coming into this course even 5 years ago, and I've been doing it now for 7 or 8 years. It's pretty awesome. If you guys want to check that out or check out any classes, it's just my name, Kristin Davies, medium.com, and you can check them out. I make things reasonable. All right. Well, we better be off. I got a couple readings I got to go to. You just keep having stuff coming around your head there. It's a wild ride here. Well, have an awesome weekend, everybody. And hopefully maybe we'll do lives again. Ooh, it'll be great. All right.
Indigo party.
Yeah, Indigo party from 2 different generations. All right. Well, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Paul.